Hey everybody, welcome to Skinbag of Coffee. I'm your host Philtron. Join me today for a nice hit of dopamine. I came across a powerful clip the other day from a protest march in Britain. A man was being interviewed about the migration crisis in Europe. He spoke so articulately and calmly, but with real conviction. Towards the end, he introduced himself as Frank Wrighter and said he was on X and on Substack. That made me laugh because I'm also on Substack. So later, I went to his X account. I found this tweet where he breaks down how he believes the immigration crisis was deliberately enabled. Here's what he wrote. Regime change wars established the roots and rationale, normalizing mass migration. We smashed their homes, so they deserve to live in ours, was the media meme. It was presented as justice. If you remember the 2015 migrant crisis, for example, millions flooding into Germany and Europe, these migrants were released through Turkey and Libya and were largely fleeing conflicts in the Middle East. This was when the floodgates opened, and they were smashed open by regime change in Iraq, Libya, Syria, and Afghanistan. The supply of migrants became a business folded into our political technique, monetized by criminal gangs and permissioned by state-aligned charities and NGOs, then marketed to us by governments as strength of diversity and magic economic bullet to answer declining Western birth rates. This isn't a bizarre rewriting of history. This is how mass migration was caused. And one of the effects was its legitimization as a political and economic policy patched into the political economy, which is ruling us into a permanent state of emergency and which capitalizes on every crisis it creates. This is how mass migration became the new normal. It is why legal and illegal migration is routine. If you like, Western elites made a virtue of necessity. Their mad wars caused this disaster, and the effects were sold to us as economic salvation with feel-good memes. And this graphic shows the migration routes north into the United Kingdom. Long story short, Frank explains how regime change wars in the Middle East created the roots and momentum for mass migration. Governments and media framed it as compassion and justice, while folding it into a larger political economic strategy. The downstream effects have put real strain on Western societies, from cultural tension to rising crime and overwhelmed services. I've been hearing these stories for years, and you can feel the frustration building across the population. That's why movements like Reform K are gaining so much traction. When you watch the videos of people marching in the streets, you can tell they're genuinely fed up. What stood out most to me was how powerfully and clearly Frank Wrighter put it all into words. It was inspiring. Remember, you are a beautiful disaster, and you are deeply loved. I'll talk to you later.